Everyone, my name is Lucine Gubasarian, and today I'm going to have a presentation on Chapter 6, which is family violence. Family violence is more common than most people think. Every day, women and children become victims of family violence. They are more likely to be attacked by family members than strangers. This chapter presents some of the myths about family violence, develops the profile of attackers, compares the family violence between poor and affluent societies, reviews the theories of family violence, and discusses some of the social responses to the issue. Here are some of the myths about family violence. As violence and crime are associated with poverty, most people believe that violence is normally present in poor households. In reality, violence is more likely to occur in poor or blue-collar families, but it only means that the percentage of violent poor families is higher than the percentage of violent white-collar families. However, the difference is not significant. Statistics show that 13.4% of blue-collar husbands were violent, compared with 10.4% of white-collar husbands. Financial stress is the common driver for family violence in poor societies. Hence, family violence is more likely to occur in poverty-stricken communities. People also believe that violence and love are opposites, and violence should not be used inside a loving household. In reality, physical punishment is a common form of disciplinary action used by parents. Further, people perceive that overuse of alcohol and drugs influences family abuse. Alcoholism and substance abuse can cause family violence, but there are other major factors that influence family violence than these two circumstances. People also believe that marital rape is rare. In reality, wives are more likely to be raped by their husbands. Marital rape does not always involve vaginal penetration. Other acts such as forced anal sex and degrading sexual coercions are also considered rape. A majority of abused wives leave their husbands and seek help from the police, social workers, mental health facilities, and family and friends. Although abusive parents were more likely to be abused as a child, it cannot be used to justify the claim that abused children can become abusers when they become adults. About 70% of child abuse victims do not become abusive parents. Family abuse also involves physical punishment. Some parents approve of this as a form of disciplinary action. Physical punishment involves spanking and slapping. Although most parents believe that these are harmless, it often leads to child abuse. Another popular belief involves adult children of elderly people. Many believe that adult children are more likely to abuse their elderly parents. In reality, elderly people are more likely to abuse their spouses. Finally, people believe that men are more likely to be arrested for raping their wives because the US has passed a law against marital rape. However, in reality, the law is rarely enforced, and people still refuse to consider marital rape as real rape. They still believe that sex between husbands and wives is always legal. The different forms of family violence include marital rape 8 to 14%, wife beating 25 to 33%, child abuse 4%, elder abuse 2%. The percentage can still increase because abused family members are reluctant to reveal their family issues to the public. Thus, the extent of family violence is much higher than what the statistics reveal. Marital rape and wife beating are the most common forms of abuse against women. A famous example of marital rape is the case of Loretta Bobbitt, who cut off her husband's genitals after he raped her and then went to sleep. Most marital rapes involve physical violence or forced sex. Women are having a hard time fighting back because of the difference in physical strength. Some marital rapes do not involve vaginal penetration. Most of the time, it involves anal sex and degrading coercions. Men have the courage to rape their wives because they believe that it is a wife's duty to have sex with their husbands. Thus, they feel entitled to have sex with their wives any way they want, in any way they want. Other than this, some husbands want to punish their wives. Women reported that they were raped by their husbands to punish them for leaving them or embracing them. Finally, husbands want to gain control over their wives. Hence, they use marital rape to achieve this objective. Next to marital rape, wife beating is a common form of abuse against wives. About one-third of married people in the US assault their spouses every year, and two-thirds perpetrate abuse at least once during the marriage. Most abusive husbands believe that they live the power to beat their wives. As such, they do not show genuine remorse. Instead, they nationalize their actions in three ways. Abusers blame the victim for provoking the offense. They normally make an excuse such as the wife was yelling and the husband simply wanted to shut her up. Second, they minimize the harm they have done. They will say that they did not really hurt her, or it was just a little slap. Finally, husbands attribute the violence to problems beyond their control. They normally say that they were drunk or had a bad day in the office. The effects of wife beating include PTSD and battered woman syndrome. PTSD causes depression and anxiety, while battered woman syndrome causes low self-esteem. Children are exposed to different types of abuse. Sexual abuse involves intercourse, but over time it evolved. The rape, abuse, and incest national network involves exhibitionism, sharing pornographic images, and sending obscene text messages or phone calls are considered sexual abuse. Physical abuse, on the other hand, involves physical punishment or physical violence perpetrated by parents and siblings. These types of abuse cause negative psychological or emotional impact on children. The causes of child abuse include intergenerational transmission of violence, the experience of being abused as children, having observed as children how parents and other significant adults use violence to express anger, the popular view about physical punishment, problematic interaction between parent and child, and socioeconomic factors. Socioeconomic factors include poverty, unemployment, family problems, and lack of education. A female genital mutilation is a form of child abuse that involves cutting off the clitoris, its foreskin, or the labia. It is usually performed on girls aged 4 to 14 years old. This form of child abuse exists because of cultural beliefs, virginity and marriageability, and social and psychosocial benefits. If a woman is not circumcised, men believe that she is not a virgin. Circumcision also helps women to be accepted by their culture and community. The forms of elder abuse include neglect, emotional abuse, financial exploitation, and physical abuse. About 25% of elders require long-term care, as some of them are incapable of taking care of themselves. The perpetrators of elder abuse are typically adult children. They abuse the elders due to stress, severe personal problems, financial difficulty, and dependence. Taking care of elders is stressful. As such, adult children are more inclined to neglect or abuse them because it contributes to their overall stress and problems. According to research, men and young husbands or parents below 30 years old are more likely to abuse their wives or children. Although people from all income levels can be abusers, most abusers are from lower income groups. Men are more likely than women to become abusers. Factors that influence abusive behavior include stress and social isolation. The nature of violence is the same in all countries. Family violence involves physical, emotional, and/or sexual abuse. Although violence also occurs in affluent societies, it is more prevalent in poor communities. Patriarchy in most societies influences family violence. In progressive countries, patriarchy is less influential than it is in poorer countries. Progressive countries like the US, for instance, demand gender equality. In general, reform plays a crucial role in reducing gender inequality and abuse against women. There are various theories that explain the different forms of family violence. Social learning theory. People are more likely to engage in family violence if they have been exposed to violence and have experienced violence either as offenders or victims. These people learn to use violence to deal with interpersonal problems from these experiences. Stress theory. People that suffer extreme stress and do not receive sufficient social support sometimes commit violence. Exchange theory. The exchange theory is based on the principle of benefit and cost. If the reward for committing violence is greater than the cost, people are more likely to commit violence. For this reason, violence occurs in most families because the abuser perceives that it generates greater benefits. The United States has passed laws against marital rape. Although it is rarely enforced, it encourages the arrest of husbands who commit battery. In the 1970s, the law was implemented to prevent contact between the victim and the offender. This has prevented some abusive husbands to reconnect with their wives. The victim can also seek protection from the shelter of the safe house. They will receive physical protection, social support, counseling, and legal aid, among others. Finally, the criminal justice system offers counseling programs for abusive husbands to prevent problematic behavior. Every state has laws that require educators, healthcare providers, and other professionals to report child abuse. The report will prompt an investigation to determine if the child has been abused. Government agencies such as Child Protective Services have the power to provide the family with social support, remove the child from the custody of abusive parents, and place them in foster homes, in the care of relatives, or in a residential treatment center. CPS also provides assistance such as daycare services, counseling, and food stamps. No formal government protective services agencies focus on protecting elders from abuse. Nevertheless, all states have elder protection programs. Aside from this, most states mandate the reporting of elder abuse to social service departments. The two types of services for abused elders are medical and legal services. Medical services include providing medical care and healthcare professionals such as doctors and nurses. Legal service, on the other hand, include restraining orders, guardianship of elders and their estates, and safeguarding elders' income and social security benefits, and protecting elders from invo- involuntary commitment. This chapter highlighted that patriarchy, socioeconomic factors, and stress are some of the main reasons for abuse. Husbands abuse their wives because they perceive they have control over them. Socioeconomic factors such as lower levels of education and income cause people to resort to violence. These factors sometimes cause severe stress, which influence violent behaviors. Thank you.